Welcome back to Archean, episode 7 of season 1 playthrough. This is a continuation of the part 1, creating a ore scanner from scratch, and we left off the code. We're going to make a few improvements here. So what I'm doing here, I'm disabling some of the code because the spinning scanner is a little bit distracting over there on the right hand side. I guess I could actually rotate the screen so I can't see it, but alright, I wanted to start displaying actual degrees instead of fractional numbers for the angle. So we're going to kind of play around with this, and I'm just going to place it at 0.025. And as stated before, just checking, this rotates counterclockwise. So 0.25 is pointing at 270 degrees. So we should display 270 degrees. Obviously 90 is incorrect. And so we'll do 1 minus the angle. And we correctly now have 270 displayed on the computer monitor behind the IDE. And points back 180, that's correct. So we're just verifying, and yep, points to the right, which is 9 degrees. Alright, so now we can display degrees instead of fractionals. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to detect the closest source of gold in this case. And once I find it, I want to stop and basically say, go this direction, this many meters for this percentage of gold. And stop scanning at that point. And stop scanning will, of course, save battery power. Now, this is a stationary platform. So once we find it, obviously it's not moving. The version that will go on the sub will be has to deal with the fact that the sub is constantly moving, thus the direction will change. And as we discovered in the previous episode, the source of gold is pretty darn close. So we can also limit the range of scanning, so we don't have to scan that far out. So creating some basically the variables that'll hold where the closest source of gold is. So we have if we find it, now I'm going to do something a little slimy. The AU found will have two purposes. One, it'll indicate if gold is found. It'll also indicate the percentage of gold. So obviously if you have, because basically if it's non-zero, we found gold, and since it has the percentage of gold, then we can just render that percentage. Okay, if we found gold, let's just return this point. Because we're done. Because we already updated the screen will stay stable. There's nothing else to do. Let's just stop now and not burn any power. Now obviously in this case we're on geothermic, so we have plenty of power, but just for probably more annoyance if it keeps spinning. Also, we want to find the nearest, so we don't want to keep finding gold further off and updating the values. So we're going to look for gold that's over 10%, and we're hard coding that number in the code. It should be a constant of something like minimum gold detected percentage type thing. But I just hard coded it in line 39. All right, so if we find a certain percentage over the threshold, currently we set the AU found to 1. I'll change that later on. We save the distance, we save the direction, and we'll save the direction in degrees. Now, instead of doing that twice like that, what I should do in the main loop is I should have another variable called or angle in degrees, and just set that variable once and then just use it. Often when we'll call this extreme agile coding is once you sort of get it working, then sit down and go over all the code and move things around and make it pretty and clean up stuff like that. So we're not going to actually do that cleanup pass in this episode. So basically, if we found something, let's render information. I first attempted to put everything on one line. Turned out that that actually will overflow the screen there. So I'll reformat that. And I disabled the scanning, so it's not going to the values at 52 through 58 have been disabled, so it's not going to do any active scanning right now. It's basically why I mess around with some of the parameters. Okay, let's turn this back on. Also, I'm going to make the scanning a little more fine-tuned. So we basically get 25 ticks per second. And there we go, getting a little smoother spin there. Now we know we found some at what is like about a little over 1,000 meters out. So now something else I'm not doing is that the precision. Oh, here I found it. Wow, only 9. Oh, so the range is to the second line on the console is the base range. It's not the range of detection. It's the base range of the channel set of channels. So it's between 910 and 1010. But we'll put the Pacific distance here, and you see how it just overflows the display there. So we'll clean that up a little bit. So I decided to display the percentage on the first line, and then for found, we'll throw the percent in there instead. I said that's not really proper coding, and unfortunately I can't spell. And now I could start the in line 16. I could put that at like 900 just to speed up the development part of this. So that's something else to keep in mind of if you're doing code like this and there's a part like this. I know I'm going to wait until it gets at least 900 meters out. I could just change temporarily line 16, put a little to do with the comment on there so I don't forget, and that'll speed up the repro of this. And I kind of format it a little better. All right, so while that's doing its thing, we need to build a sub. So we're going to need propellers. This sub's design is going to be a lot a bit different than my previous sub and in previous episode of the cargo challenge. That is, I'm going to have, oh, we found gold and it stopped. Perfect. All right. So the, let's see what we got here. Okay. So we got 12% at 295. And of course the scanner's pointing in that direction, and a range at only, 1,000 meters. So, yeah, I'm upping the percentage because I know there's some 16% almost close by, so we'll scan for that. Now please note there is extremely fancy ore scanner systems available on the workshop with graphical displays and coloring and all that. This particular series, I'm trying to do everything, no blueprints, and write it all out manually for the instructional value. And while I'm building up stuff for my submarine, I realize I should probably plug this in and get it charged up while we're sitting here. And not going to get too fancy. We'll just put a bridge there, and turn my jetpack on, and we'll just do something quick and easy like that. And then we have the one there, and we'll just string it over. Okay, so we got that charging. Yeah, it's not a perfectly smooth spot right there. Okay, so I'm going to place it, delete it, place it, delete it, place it a couple times. So I'm just going to speed that part up. And no, that's too close to the base, so let's get rid of this and let's do it over here. Okay, back down normal speed. So let's, as before, I typically just, once I get that first frame down, the first floor piece, I'm done with the frame. And let's just go out, and we're out of composites. So I'm going to speed up this little construction and waiting for construction section, because I don't do anything except wander around and do some more construction. So kind of staring at the screen as if it's going to change or something. All right, and so boom. And I'm just sort of winging this design a little bit. Let's turn on the symmetry. Oh, if there's a way to change the origin of the symmetry thing, please let me know. I don't know if there is or not. It'd be nice if you can move it around a little bit. Could be there. For all I know, it could be in the hints. I just don't read the hints come up on the upper right hand corner. So I should probably next time put the symmetry down, look at the hints and tell me, see if it tells me I can move it. Alright, so back to the submarine design. Oh, back to construction. And I'm going to speed up this construction, wander around, jump in the water, construction, wander around segment. I'm not actually building anything, so we'll just run this and get rid of some of the excess ore in my backpack. So my last submarine design, I had 4 propellers around the sides, and they could pivot. And the thought is, by pivoting, and I can control all different motions. And yeah, that's true if I was more clever or had more time to work it all out. So this time I decided to go simple. I'm going to have 4 propellers in a vertical orientation, so they face up and down. And actually they just face up. And they're locked. No pivot. And because I can change the direction. So at 4 around the vessel, that means I can control the roll and the pitch just by those 4 props. So for example, if the pitch is down, the front's down, then we just run the front 2, and we can reverse the back 2, and we can just rotate it, or we can leave the back 2 where they're at and just use the front one to move the front up. And if we are rolling, we turn on one side or the other side for rolling. And so we don't need to change put them on pivots, something simple like that. And of course, we can change the direction to thrust it, either way. So that basically, and then we can have logic to just focus on keeping the darn thing level, right? So you basically, I'll put it on toggle switch in case we're on the bottom, we don't want it level, but just basically, keep the thing level, because I had problem with the thing floating around, flipping over in the water. So that's just basically one computer. It does nothing but maintain level orientation. Then I'll have a pair of props in the back, and that's for forward thrust. And because I have I kind of spread them out a little bit. If I give the left side more propulsion than the right side, we'll turn to the right, and the opposite. And of course, I can put one set going forward, one set going reverse to to yaw the thing either way. So that gives us enough directions to drive it around. So effectively, you should move like a car, because if it maintains level on its own, and then I can just use WS to go forward or back, and use the AD to yaw back and forth. And then I can use the up and down. So for up and down, I'll use, since I have those 4 props, I can also use those. If I want to go up, I can run in one direction. When I go down, I can go the other direction. So that gives me the up and down direction. So I forget what keys they are. I think isn't that like shift and control or something like that? I'll look that up. It's the same as your jetpack. I'll use those same commands for going up and down. So, and then we'll just sort of let the pitch always stay flat. And then I'll probably have a way to disable it. So if I want to set this thing on the bottom, for example, and the bottom is not level, I'll disable the leveling logic and just throttle it down until I hit the bottom, and then lock it. I'll put an anchor on here. We can lock it to the bottom. So this will be a wet sub design. Not sure how far I put this out here. I should probably check the mounting with a prop before I repeat this on the back here. Now, if I had done this right, I would have used symmetry in both directions. And so basically, when I set the first floor piece down, I should have built in front of it and behind it, and not just go behind it like I did. So that's a mistake I made. Yeah, I like the thing sticking out. I think there's a way I could have turned it around, but this is fine. So another advantage of this design is that it'll make the coding a lot easier to do, because we don't have to rotate them. They're just fixed. So I know I'll have 8 props on this thing when I get done. And they'll all be named. So we got props. We have these 4 props, and we'll have props in the rear. And I call these props, and I got those props. And I'm thinking how I differentiate these propellers from each other. So I should call them V for vertical props. So okay, this is a prop vertical front right. That's good enough. And this will be prop vertical rear right, VRR. And I want to keep the construction going here, organizing, see what I need. Now, I'm going to not use any component from my current build, so I have to reconstruct everything. Seat, batteries, computer, routers, pivot, or scanner. The works. And finish vertical right left and vertical front left. I'm not mucking with the configurations at this point. We'll get to that when we start testing the software, which won't be in this episode. So I want to get this sub partly built. Basically what happened is I finished up the ore scanner stuff early, and I didn't want a short episode, so I figured I'd make some progress on the submarine. Thinking about what I want to do here in the back. And well, technically that works. They don't, but I don't want them colliding like that. I think that's a little too cheesy. I said, well, let's just extend this out. Because components within a build will not collide. So the props and hinges and all that. But I try to avoid that scenario where possible. Okay, that blade only goes that far, and yeah, it doesn't look that pretty, but oops. There, and yeah, they don't touch. Cool. So yeah, and it gets it a little further out, so it'll make the turning a little easier. Gives us a little more. Now we don't have that far to go, fortunately. So maneuverability is more important than speed at this point. Now there's going to be other ores that probably won't be as easy as this. All right, so now this can be fun. We got prop horizontal. Rear, left. So I'm like, rear, I got two back here. Now I could connect them together and have them operate simultaneously. But then I go, well, let's call one outboard and one inboard. So we got prop, horizontal, rear, left, outboard. And this will be prop, horizontal, rear, left, inboard. Now the reason to do it this way, if I want to operate just these two, I can do prop HR L star. And that'll send command to both those on the left. So the ordering of the lettering is very important, so you can take advantage of the star feature to the masking feature to command multiple props. So if I want to, say, turn on all the rear props, all the horizontal props, I can just say prop H star. All right, so it's getting someplace. I would say this is an improvement of my previous submarine, which is not a big bar to cross over. Okay, we're going to put some markers here so I can make sure I center my seat and crap. I'm thinking, I probably should get that computer down first. Yeah, I could have put the, I should have probably made that only one thick and put the computer, might change that in the next episode, and put the computer partly on the wall there. Oh, this will be a wet sub, so there won't be any enclosing or any of that. You know, I'm admiring that. And I'm still using a computer. I'm not using a transparent screen there. We'll save that for some future build. I'm going to line up a bunch of batteries in here. Oh, we don't have that far to go, but there's probably, hopefully, partial reuse for the next. And now I'm thinking probably should put those on the center of gravity point, not cram them up in the front there. Just make the whole thing front heavy. And we have to turn the V on to get the center of gravity, which is right there. So let's get rid of that and move it back here. I mean, it doesn't be perfectly on it because it's going to move around as I add components, but I want to get it close. It'll make balancing out a little easier. Of course, we'll have active leveling, so even if we don't have, perfect center of gravity, it'll be active logic will be running the props to keep the thing reasonably leveled. All right, so those are basically in the center of the gravity. I'm not sure. We're still a little tail heavy because of the props, so I'll probably put the next set of batteries forward, try to bring that up a little bit. So we'll add some batteries forward and play with that. Okay, so we're going to put our router in as our technique common pattern now. We always have a router. Okay, kind of thinking what I want to else put on here. Let's see, we're going to need some tilt sensors on here. Not sure what to put them yet. I don't have to put them in the front. I can put them in the, probably better off in the, yeah, I didn't think about that. Probably best having the sensors in the middle. It also might explain why I have the, my mining vehicle maybe doesn't the auto flip roll logic may not work as well because the roll's in the middle, but the flip over is in the front, and that probably should be in the middle of that sensor. That makes sense. So we'll mount those in the middle. The other thing too is I'm actually going to mount the ore scanner for the sub in the back. It doesn't matter where it really goes. So I think I don't need it in the front. So I'll put it back there. All right, so this is the end of this episode. We found some gold, a lot of it really nearby. We could really just swim out there and do something, but we're going to build a sub. Until next time, see ya.